So I'd like to call the June 26th regular meeting of council to order. Introduction of late items. We have, for information only, the report from FCM on cannabis legalization and what you need to know, so that's added to the information only section. So now, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Ruby. Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And the next one is the reading and adopting of minutes. So a motion that the minutes of the June 5th special council meeting be adopted as presented or amended. Can I get a mover and seconder, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Thank you. Any corrections? Right, hearing none, call the question then. All in favor? Carried. And a motion that the minutes of the June 12, 2018 regular council meeting be adopted as presented or amended.
I'll do this.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Any corrections? And none. Call the question. All in favor as presented? Yeah. Two with their hands up over there. Okay. Carried. And the next one is petitions and delegations. So Mrs. Walchuk's grade 5, 6, 7 class, a follow-up presentation to show council their class accomplishments in the entrepreneur and marketing program. Welcome.
Since early March, our class has beginning to create our product. The money we were granted, the 5, 6, 7 class has spent long, hard hours creating a variety of different types and sizes of our seed paper.
The grant we received from the Economic Development Division has helped immensely in our endeavors into entrepreneurship. The subject is unprecedented in our education, and we had great enjoyment from learning all the businesses.
Our seed papers consist of 4 main aspects: pulp, stencils, seeds, and newspaper. The pulp comes from soaked recycled paper and is blended in a blender. And then we evened out the pulp in the stencil. And then we got out as much water as we possibly could before adding some seeds. And then we put newspaper over top and let it dry for 24 hours.
One of the students said, because we did reflections on what everyone thought went well about the project and what we could do better for next year, the people who are doing it. And one student said that they learned there's a lot of background things going on in the making of a small business, which is true. One thing that we had to do was we kept a ledger, which 2 students in our class did. And we had to learn all about how to properly spend our money so we wouldn't blow all of our grant.
So we also wrote down some goals for making the seed paper, and some of our goals were to have fun, to earn up to $30 to $50, advertise well, which we had posters that we put up in stores and flyers that we gave around, and we actually put it in the Little McBride paper.
So one thing we wanted to do with some of our profit is we were going to donate 10% of it to charity. So we ended up making a profit of around $390. So once we deducted everything that we spent from the grant, we ended up with around $40, which 20 of that went to the hospital auxiliary, and the other, whatever was left over, went to our own personal school library.
So we made a collage of what we did here. So
You can see how we had the soaked pulp and laid it in the stencil, and there's some where we added seeds.
yeah, there were some bigger pieces of paper that we soaked, and that we put the pulp on the stencils, and we made different types and shapes, different sizes of paper, and
there are some pictures of us selling our seed paper at the shops on Main on Thursdays and Fridays.
You want to turn the mouse so the audience, the public can see?
We would like to thank everyone involved with helping us with the grant, and we would like to give you some samples of seed paper to show our gratitude. Some seed paper and hand around. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I get to choose first.
Is that the end of the presentation, ladies?
Thank you.
Council, do you have any questions?
Did you meet your having fun objective? Did you
Yeah.
meet your objective of having fun?
Yes, I think so, yeah.
Councillor Thompson, you had your hand up?
Fantastic, thank you for the presentation. I'm glad that it worked out for you and that you did meet your fun objective. Will you do it again?
Yes, we have plans, and everything that we deducted from our final profit went back into the account that has the savings in it from the grant. And so next year, all the people who are doing it again will have that money, so they're able to do their projects as well.
Fantastic, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, one more question, ladies. Is there any more? Are you still selling it, or have you run out of stock?
Well, next year we're gonna do groups of 2, and certain kids are gonna do their own businesses. And if someone would like to take up seed paper, they could, and we already have the supplies for it, so it'd be easier. But it's all what they want, the younger kids.
Thank you.
One more question.
Yes, Councillor Kirby?
Anybody going to go into business now?
Possibly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is questions from the public and the press. We have none. Who do I give this to? We're good, sure? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to unfinished business. The first item is the Economic Development Action Work Plan. Motion reads that council receive the report to council Economic Development Action Plan / Work Plan.
I'll move that.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Question.
Okay. Didn't know if I was going to be on this one or the next one. Go ahead, Councillor Ruby.
On the forest sector, I'm wondering if we should have an addition of us lobbying for caribou replacement. I'm not saying this well. Replacing the area that we've lost to the caribou. Is that something we can help with?
Yeah, actually, that's, we're receiving the report though now, right?
Oh, okay. So I'll ask later? Is that my question? Okay. I'll ask later.
After that.
Okay.
Good question.
But no, it's,
So all in favor of receipt of the report? Carried. Next motion is that council approve the Economic Development Action Work Plan for the 2018 as presented.
I'll move that.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Ruby.
Now my question. I'm wondering if this should be added, that we should be lobbying, assisting in lobbying for the replacement of the caribou.
I actually agree. I 100% agree with that because it's one of the things I put forward in speaking to the ministers of, because it's not just what we lose in the forestry end of things, but also it's affecting our tourism. It will affect access to backcountry, a whole bunch of different things. So I think it's definitely worth putting on the docket. Councillor Edwards?
Through the mayor, ditto.
righty then.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
All right.
And then I have another one.
Okay, Councilor
Someone
Brewer,
else
go
does.
ahead.
Develop tourism and recreation trails and access. The first point, develop a community and preferably plan for trails.
What page are you
Understand
on,
that.
Councilor Ruby?
Page 25.
Okay.
Perhaps EDO could answer that.
Through to the EDO?
Which section is that? I don't have the same page numbers as you.
Page 25, Karen.
Yes, I don't have
Page
that.
7.
Develop tourism and recreation trails.
Page 7.
The first bullet point.
Okay. Regional trail plan.
I'm sorry, start over.
Yeah, so it would be develop a community and regional trail plan. I can double check that one. You know what, I'll double check it against the action plan itself, and we'll just clarify that.
Clarify what it is. It just,
Yeah, yeah.
I read that, but I have no
Yeah,
idea
I'll
what they're
clarify
talking
that with
about.
the action plan.
Councilor Thompson?
Same section, if I could add. I see at the bottom under partners, there's RV, MBA, Avarda, et cetera. And I had a few other partners that I felt should be included. Big Country Snowmobile Association, Backcountry Horsemen of BC, McBride Chapter, Ossalinka Alpine Club, and the Fraser Headwaters Alliance for 4 of them. They just are all those partner groups that are involved in trail development. Okay. I got one more if you want me to continue.
Yeah, you've got the
I've
floor,
got the
Councilor
floor.
Thompson.
Okay. I'm on page 27 of the agenda, which is section 3.6.2.5.
Page 9.
Page 9 of yours. Yes. Again, it's just under partners. I felt that the Regional District of Radio Fort George should also be a partner in agricultural product development.
Okay.
And just overall, I thought that the plan was well presented, and I don't think that our economic development coordinator is going to be short of work.
I noticed that on one page we had, you have 176 days of working, and the plan comes out with 177 days, so apparently you owe us a day somewhere. Okay, Councilor, any further additions or comments on the motion? So it would be the motion as amended then? Do I need to get,
Actually, we don't.
don't have to do it as amended?
It's just a small amendment, just that the council approve the economic development action plan, work plan just as amended versus as presented.
Okay. Thank you. So can I call the question, all in favor as amended? Carried. On to page 38 of your agenda, a motion that council receive the Village of McBride 2017 annual report.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any comments on the final version, council? No? Councilor Thompson.
I appreciated the, from the documents, page 21, our page 58, the format for things to be done in 2018. It is easier to read. I thought it could be just bullets, but it's fine the way it is. It just outlines under our goals and objectives things that we want to be able to tick off, and as the year comes to a close, outline what we did. So I much prefer, I like the picture of last year's float.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Green?
On page 28, the very last, it just says McBride Public Works Building, and then that's just a statement by itself. I'm not sure what, on the very bottom of page 28.
Yeah, no, I see that.
I'm just not sure.
Oh, yeah, probably, it just needs that to conditions assessment.
Okay.
I'll just fill that in. Before we post it on the website as a final version.
That was my only,
Any comment? Okay, I'll call the question then. All
We'll
in,
do one more nitpicky one.
okay.
Nitpicky. Page 31 of the report, and this is just my own personal bias. It says SCI funds received or anticipated. If it could then say, at that point, strategic community investment, instead of reading further down the paragraph.
Oh, sure.
And again, that's nitpicky, it's just my personal, what the heck is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just as a comment, your annual reports previously have not included this, and it needs to be part of it. So actually, the annual report this year is quite a big upgrade from previous annual reports as far as content and information and presentation.
I certainly agree.
Okay, call the question then. All in favor? Carried. And now I'd like to hold the floor open for any members of the public who wish to ask questions or make submissions on the 2017 annual report. None? Okay. And then a motion that the council adopt the Village of McBride 2017 annual report.
I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Ruby and Councillor Green. All in favor? Carried. One big thing ticked off. All right, so we've got my report, Councillor Edwards' report, and Councillor Thompson's report. I only wanted to add to mine that I was able to attend the grad ceremonies, and it was absolutely amazing. Our job well done by everybody. The graduates looked amazing, so it's good to see young people moving on and hear all of their hopes and dreams. Can I get a motion to receive the reports for information?
I'll move that.
Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And move on to correspondence requiring action. Starting on page 107 of your agenda package. A report from the Robson Valley Chapter Backcountry Horsemen Society of BC. Motion read that council provide a letter of support for the Robson Valley BC HBC development proposal of a recreational destination trail network and campground on Bell Mountain. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Just that's a really good idea. And that was a really interesting presentation.
Yeah, I thought it was well done too. Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Carried. All right, so the next one is an invitation to request a meeting with Premier John Horgan and the Cabinet Ministers at 2018 UBCM Convention, starting on page 111 of your agenda package. Administration is requesting direction with regarding which Cabinet Ministers councils wish to meet with, the topics of discussion council would like to have with Cabinet Ministers, and the topics of discussion council would like to have with the Premier. So I've provided a list to the CAO of the ministers and some of the topic matters. Councillor Green has also submitted a list. Is there anybody else that has one? Councillor Thompson, I figure you have to have one.
Well, I don't have a list. I just added. I didn't write it out as a list.
Okay. Well, I guess what I'm thinking is because we all have lists of what we need, that maybe we should supply them to administration and postpone the motion until our next meeting, giving administration time to deal with all the stuff that we're putting forward. Councillor Edwards, did you have the list as well?
I don't have a list, and what I would like to add to that, that's not a motion, I guess, but if we're going to submit these lists, and I have a few ideas I would put in, but they're not a list. And if we provide them all to the CAO, will you collate them? Because I imagine, I'm hoping there'll be some overlap, and I think we're all, we've all talked about the same stuff.
Yeah, I was
so
going to suggest that.
some of the things are going to be pretty, you know, motherhood issues things that we really want to, and so I think that would streamline our efforts.
That sounds good. And then I had some ideas myself as far as in relationship to our economic development action plan and areas of lobbying of maybe some of the staff, ministry staff we may want to meet with. Perfect.
Councillor Thompson?
I have a listing of 10 ministries with several ones for each one, so I will set a list, but my only concern is that Friday, July the 13th is the deadline for the premier and Solomon Robinson. I'm just...
We need to schedule a special meeting. I'm hoping later on in the agenda for, I was thinking July 5th, next Thursday, so that would give us time to receive council's input on their lists and collate it, and then bring it back to council maybe the day before, so that you have time to look at it, and then have the meeting on July 5th, a special meeting
that addressed my, I was just concerned about not having them in a timely manner.
Yes.
So, fine.
Yeah, and I think,
Okay, so we'll do a motion to postpone 8A, B, and C. No, A was the the trail we just approved. We just supported. So it's a motion to postpone 8A, B, and C until the July 5th special meeting. So can I get a mover and a seconder on that, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you. Thank you. And all in favor? Carried. And then if the CEO could just follow up as she just indicated, that would be great. And that'll give council the time to go over the information prior to the meeting.
So I'll send out a reminder email.
Mayor?
Yes?
One more quick question. On page 109, we have your annual letter report with some blue things highlighted. Was that an oops, or are we supposed to do something?
Yeah, it's just in printing. I think in printing off some documents for this. Yes, just someone picked up something off the photo truck here.
Slipped in.
Got stuck in
that.
something.
Okay, are we supposed to do something? It was over my head again.
All right. So on page 135 of your agenda package, we have a request, an invitation to council and staff to attend the Museum and Library grand opening on July 6th. We're moving through this one pretty quick, aren't we? So the motion reads that council direct administration to RSVP Miss Howard's invitation.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. I will be able to attend.
Okay.
Yeah, I've marked it in my calendar as well.
It's the day after our special meeting.
Councillor Thompson?
I'm going to try to attend. I'll be returning from Prince George. I hope we'll be back in time.
Okay. Councillor Edwards, you're checking your...
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. And Councillor Ruby?
Yep.
You'll be there as well? Look at that, we got all of us going.
I'll give it to a college try anyway.
All right, so it would be all the council attending? All right, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. We have several things for information with the addition of the cannabis legalization under information only. So can I get a motion to receive items 8B, A through E for information?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Can I-
Okay, sorry, Councillor Thompson?
I guess since we're going to receive it, just a quick question on the cannabis legalization. I know it's timely and has just come down. Or is it in the work plan of administration to look at bylaws that will govern the retail distribution of cannabis in the village of McBride?
It's not a part of our work plan. I don't believe it even came up in our action plan, but that will be part of some of the bylaw work.
Right.
That would be part of our bylaw work, yeah. And so it's something we need to address, maybe look at some best practices of other communities of how they're managing it. But right now, as far as our medical marijuana, I think under our zoning bylaw, we have it addressed there as so many acres is required in order to establish a medical marijuana facility, but we actually don't even have that in our jurisdiction. So
yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'm just,
Yeah.
my concern is that, you know, in other areas, particularly large municipalities, retail sales operations have popped up all over the place without regulations in place to regulate them. And now some places are putting in bylaws to have extremely high business license fees, etc., to deal with retail operations that have popped up. And I believe that, I'm sure we have nothing in our legislation, in our bylaws that talks about retail operations, which is my only concern with, my only issue within the village of McBride. We don't have room for grow-up, for production, but our current bylaws allow for retail sales, and it doesn't restrict marijuana operations, marijuana sales.
Right. So I would say this is something that's a lot of work that has to come back to council and have a whole different lens than what has been in our bylaws to begin with, and go from there. The reason why I wanted to include it in this agenda as a late item was because of the recent announcement just last week about October 17th.
October
and
17th
so
is going to come
just
quickly.
to spur the, plant a seed that we do need to be moving this ahead, and how are we going to do that. But it is a bylaw work, not economic development action
No, it is.
work. Yeah.
So, sorry to be, do we need, would it be appropriate to have a motion to enable administration to work on this?
I think we are going to have to get our head wrapped around the information, and then sit down and have a discussion amongst staff and council as to possible impacts. We also need to touch base with the regional district. We were told on their processes, because we have to make them match, otherwise we have some issues between the two. So I think there is going to come a time, and shortly, that we're going to have to do this, but we're also going to have to compile all the information in one place and give council a chance to read it and get through it. Councillor Green, you also had your hand up?
Yeah, similar to what you were saying about regional district. I think in one of our previous meetings when we were discussing this, we'd said that we had to work cooperatively with the regional district because we border with them, so that they don't have all these little outlets right on the edge of town and we have no control over it. So that was that. And we also discussed that it was probably a topic that was going to come up at UDCM, and that was something else that we were going to maybe not invent the wheel ourselves, but figure out what kind of rubber we're going to use on the wheel that's already designed.
Councillor Edwards, you had your hand up?
Lucille's reading my mind again, but my issue is I don't want to spend a lot of our time and effort working on something that's largely out of our control. So we have to be in conformance with the people that are around us, like the regional district, and we also don't want to be doing something entirely different from the other municipalities. And as you say, it's going to come up in the UBCN meeting. I don't want to spend a lot of time and effort working on something that is going to be something totally different anyway. I mean, if I do this thought experiment, if we sat down and worked through this and came up with a really good way of regulating cannabis in our village, that doesn't mean anything until it has to fit in with what the province is doing, with what the regional district is doing, with what our neighboring municipalities are doing. So I think there's a lot of work to be done on just finding out what's best practices, what are other people doing, and try to make some kind of narrow it down to a few coherent choices that we have to make. Because if we start with a green field and start brainstorming and do the whole project from that point of view, I mean that's months of work. And so this is one time I do want to kick the can down the road.
Councillor Thompson?
Just reinforce that back in April in my report to council, I indicated that the regional district began bylaw work with regard to zoning and business licenses around the area of recreational marijuana. And so they've already put the first and second readings in motion for the regulation of sales of recreational marijuana. And for example, the district of Mackenzie, I believe, has recently passed a bylaw, a temporary bylaw, which says until we get our ducks in order, we're not going to allow any retail outlets. And that was simply as a stopgap measure to prevent or deter pop-up operations from happening.
I believe Fort St. John did as well.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
I did. That's some of the research I've done already is Mackenzie's bylaw, and I actually had started to report to council on this subject, but I thought I might as well hold off until we had an announcement as to when it was actually going to, as it was going through the and everything, that approval. So yeah, I'm aware of Mackenzie's. Yeah, I think
I'm confident knowing that it's on your radar.
It's definitely on my radar, definitely. I don't think we need a motion tonight to instruct administration. I think we just need to, we're all aware that the work has to be done. And I think it would probably be over a number of meetings that we would be, determining how we're going to approach this, and we just need time to do the research.
Okay.
And give everyone else time to figure it out, because not everyone's going to have figured it out yet, right? Yeah.
I think this is one time where we'll let someone else lead, and we'll just plagiarize the best, but let somebody else figure it out first.
All right, Councillor Edwards?
Yeah, and just to follow up with that idea, this is new for everybody, the whole province, the whole country, and our province especially. So we need to give it a good shot and be prepared to change, because the chances of all the municipalities in BC figuring this out and getting it right, pretty small. So we just need to do something that looks reasonable, and then be prepared to change it when we need to.
Would council like me to bring forward that bylaw was my intent with what Mackenzie's done as a stopgap measure in the meantime while we're figuring it out.
What's in John has one too? I don't see a reason why
I think
not.
it's worthwhile having a look
Okay,
at.
yeah, okay.
It would be nice to kind of be
Yeah.
a bit proactive in that sense.
Okay.
And that way we don't.
I am aware of it, I've read through it, and, yeah. Okay.
Also to Councillor Thompson, with the first and second reading from the regional district, is it possible that you could email that to all of council and the CAO?
Yes, it's the information, or I think it's directed to the April board meeting on the regional district site.
I just figured it'd be quicker rather than
I can get it to the CAO.
Okay, that would be, yeah, that would be.
And I'm going to correct, I don't know exactly what reading we did or whether we just got reports. I know that we talked about
Okay.
the 2 bylaws that were being.
I know it's been a big concern on council's mind as knowing that we have to collaborate with our neighbors. So if we could start that process, that would be great.
I will follow up
Make a
with
note of
that
that?
tomorrow. Yeah.
And that means we need to know what Veltman's going to do too, so we need to talk to them as well.
All right, as soon as we have, where was I? Okay, no other questions or comments. We're on a motion to receive items 8B, A, and E for information. All in favor? Carried. All right, next one is bylaws, permits, and policies. And the general local government election bylaw on page 165 of your agenda package. Motion reads that council receive the report to council, general local election bylaw number 779.2018.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And the next motion is that council reconsider and adopt bylaw 779.2018, general local government election bylaw. Mover and seconder, please.
Move that.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried. And on page 170 of your package, a grant and aid request from the McBride and District Public Library. A motion that council approve the request for a grant and aid from the McBride and District Public Library in the amount of $250 or other amount determined by council to aid with the cost of the community barbecue picnic on Friday, July 6th.
I'll move that. There will be burgers.
Second.
I'll second it for the same reason.
Did you guys not get supper? Any further comments on it? All in favor? Carried. Page 4. On page 172 of your agenda package, a temporary street closure application for the Robson Valley Support Society Youth Collaborative Summer Festival. Motion reads that council approve the temporary street closure of Main Street from 1st to 2nd Avenues on July 11th, 25th, August 8th, and 22nd from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the RVSS Youth Collaborative Annual Summer Festival Series, contingent upon receipt or confirmation of adequate insurance coverage by the Robson Valley Support Society.
I'll move that.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion?
Party in the street wants to discuss it.
There'll be burgers.
We need to feed you a little more often. Okay, then I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. And a motion to go that in accordance with section 91C, labor relations or other employee relations, and I, the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, council move to a closed in-camera meeting.
Not that.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. And a motion that the open meeting be recessed at 7:39 p.m. in order to conduct the closed in-camera meeting.
Move.
Thank you. Second?
Second it.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.
Thanks, Sherry.